This is the 15th government shutdown since 1981. So let's get that down as a official stat, okay? 15th, not the first, not the second. This is the 15th time since 1981. We've had shutdowns before with Democrats in office, and we've had them obviously with Republicans in office. Now, there will be 750,000 government employees who will be furloughed. And, of course, the military and the Border Patrol will be working without any sort of payment, but they will get their back pay when this stuff ends. Now, with that said, what the left is trying to say is that Trump is using this shutdown, that is, it is driven by him to push his political agenda and to target his political enemies. Reuters, the liberal Reuters, just listened to a video prior to the beginning of the show here, and they say that this was designed by Trump so this way he can keep back $26 billion from Democrat states, give them pain, and specifically New York, where Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, and Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the Senate, are both from New York. It holds up an $18 billion transit funding for New York. So the left is trying to make this sound as if this is Trump's plan all along to shut down the government and make it smaller, get rid of things that we don't need. This is a false narrative, and we're going to get to that, and I'm going to explain that to you. It is happening by chance to fall right into Trump's plan. But Trump, if tomorrow the Democrats would say we're not going to fund illegal aliens, if they were to agree to a CR, continuing resolution, which basically just says we're not going to change anything as it's been. It's not adding things new. It's not any trickery. The Democrats approved the same CR 13 times under Joe Biden. And they just did it a couple months ago. So what's changed? What's changed is Donald J. Trump is doing a phenomenal job. J.D. Vance is coming across as the greatest vice president of all time. Democrats just watch, and I mean Democrat voters, just watched people go online and celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk, and people are moving over. They're saying, wait, between the vile behavior of Jimmy Kimmel and all the left, all these TikTok videos I'm seeing, all the horrors that I hear AOC and Ilhan Omar saying about Charlie Kirk, I'm not part of that. I'm hanging up my Democrat cleats and I'm going over to the red team. So the Democrats see that Trump and J.D. Vance are on fire in a good way. They're seeing they're losing people. And so the demented brain of the Democrat, and that's what they are, they're demented brains, that they're not playing with all 52 cards in the deck. They've come up with the strategy of saying, you know what? We can't be heard. Trump sucks all the oxygen out of the room. He always dominates the headlines. We can never get a word in. Nobody's listening to us. The best way for us to be heard is if we shut down the government. Now they've got to listen to us. And believe me when I tell you, people are listening and they're seeing how nutty and how anti-American the Democrats are. Now, I'm going to read to you two tweets from the President of the United States. You can see it here. It's on the big board. He writes, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought. He is basically Project 2025 guy. Or if you remember Project 2025, this is what the Democrats were running on. Kamala was saying 2025 project. Trump was the architect of this, and it was all these bad things. Okay. Russ Vought was the guy who basically was the man on this. So he says, I have a meeting with Russ today. He is of Project 25 fame to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity. They are not stupid people. So maybe this is their way of wanting to quietly and quickly make America great again. Now, let me tell you what that is. That is a unbelievably great troll. It gets under the Democrats' skin, which Trump does better than any other person ever. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But think about what that, see, because the Democrats hated 2025 project. They hated it about closing down the Department of Education and all the other different things. They wanted to get rid of so many different departments. And now what Trump is saying is, you have forced me now to have a meeting with this guy. You've put me in connection with the 2020-25 project. Shame on you, you silly little boys and girls, unless, of course, this is really what you wanted. Now, Trump makes a major mistake in his tweet saying that the Democrats are smart people. They're not smart people. They're not. They're cunning. There's a difference between smart and cunning. They're cunning and they are deranged. But I guess Trump can't write that. Not in that tweet anyway. The next one he puts up is, the Democrats want to give your health care money to illegal aliens and open our borders to the criminals of the world. A deadly combination because everybody will come. And that's right. We've seen this already. We've watched this movie play out, and it ain't going to happen underneath the Trump presidency. It's just not going to happen. Trump is not going to bend here. I can tell you that right now. And he is going to have the widespread support of the majority of Americans. He is. Because as much as this shutdown leads the Democrats to believe that they're being listened to, it works in both ways. The Republicans are being listened to right now, hugely. And there is nobody who's getting a bigger microphone at this very moment than J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is not only... J.D. Vance, you want to talk about smart people, J.D. Vance is at the top of the heap. Not only is J.D. Vance showing an incredible amount of support for Donald J. Trump. I mean, what a great wingman. What a great Robin and a Batman and Robin duo. But simultaneously, he is showing that he is not only highly articulate and knowledgeable about everything that's going on with the federal government and Make America Great Again, but he is showing that although he is young, he is learning from the master, and he is well positioned to be the torch bearer in 2028. And you will see later here in the show, Gavin Newsom knows this. Gavin Newsom knows this something terrible. For 90 seconds here, I'm going to let J.D. Vance explain to you in his words, in part, why it is that this shutdown is happening. Play it. Video 1.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, President Trump and congressional Republicans turned off that money to health care funding for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to turn it back on. And in their initial proposal, the first thing that they put out to reopen the government, they actually turned that money for health care benefits for illegal aliens back on. So it's not something that we made up. It's not a talking point. It is in the text of the bill that they initially gave to us to reopen the government. It's preposterous for them to run away from it now. But look, let's set that all to the side. Let's open open up the government. Let's negotiate on all of these healthcare policy issues. Obviously, we're not going to support healthcare benefits for illegal aliens, but we will work with them to lower healthcare costs for American citizens if they're willing to do so.
I want to add to this now. I'm going to read to you a very, very interesting tweet that J.D. Vance retweeted and then responded to. I'm just going to blend it into one, okay? It's on my Facebook page. You may have seen it. We just posted it a couple minutes ago because this was a morning tweet. I labeled it Funding Illegal Alien Healthcare Explained. Here is how it works. Federal dollars go to a Democrat state for health care. And since money is fungible, they then move state dollars over to fund illegals, which is made possible by federal dollars filling the gap where state dollars should be going. So functionally, federal dollars make funding health care for illegals possible. On top of that, a lot of this money funds the infrastructure that is then used to provide healthcare benefits to illegals. Now, this is what JD wrote. On top of that, any illegals committing fraud that has gone undetected could qualify for coverage. And how hard are liberal states looking at that problem? Not much at all. This is important. Money is fungible, and it's why the Democrat and media lie that healthcare is not going to illegals is so preposterous. It is a preposterous lie. Consider, for instance, two state Medicaid programs, Ohio and New York. New York gives Medicaid to illegals, and Ohio doesn't. When the government gives billions of dollars to New York for Medicaid, that frees up state money in New York that can then be spent on illegals. It's like if you give a mobster $100, but he promises that he will not spend the money to buy a gun and commit a crime. Well, what does he do? He takes the $100 you give him and buys some food, and then takes the money he would have spent on all the food and uses that money to buy the gun instead. This is what money is fungible means. Additionally, because medical services are limited in supply, when an illegal accesses health care, it drives up the cost for everyone. We talk about this on the show all the time. So New Yorkers are paying a higher price for medical services, and the federal government is subsidizing those higher prices. So everyone in the media, from George Stephanopoulos to Jake Tapper, repeating these Democrat talking points is engaging in the Democrat propaganda war. Democrats shut down the government to give health care money to illegal aliens. It's really that simple. There's your explanation. If you need to explain to anybody what is really happening, not only will we have this video clip from this part of the program separate later, but you can just play this part or listen to it over and over again or read that tweet or it's on my Facebook page. You can go to my Facebook page right underneath this video and you can see and you just share that. And that explains everything. Now, with that said, we're going to do a little bit of an investigative reporting here. We're going to use the Democrats' words against them. Ryan worked diligently last night to put together a lot of clips for you today. We have a lot of clips. The first one we're going to put together here is of Representative Rosa DeLauro out of Connecticut. This is the person who's got the weird blue hair. You know who I'm talking about. Listen to what she says in her first 24 seconds on the floor about how many pages of the CR are actually assigned to healthcare. Play.
This bill, it really is a fallacy. That is the fallacy, because 67 pages of the 91 in this continuing resolution deal with health care extensions one way or another, whether they're for veterans, whether they're for others. That is what's in there. So it's absolutely germane.
Okay. Now you could make an argument of saying, all right, she's making an argument saying, hey, healthcare is the number one topic on the table. And that's what the Republicans have been saying. They're just looking at it from two different ways. The Republicans are saying, hey, listen, we want to lower prices for Americans. Look what Trump just did yesterday or the day before, signed a deal with Pfizer. So this way now Pfizer will promise to give you and me the pricing that it gives to other nations. There are other nations outside the United States that are paying, in some cases, 1,000% less for healthcare than for medicines than you are and I am. So don't tell me that Trump wants to raise prices on American citizens. That is just a fallacy. Now, let's go to Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters basically said, without saying it, sometimes omission is admission. Here is Representative Maxine Waters being confronted by a reporter about why is it that you're giving health care to illegal aliens? Why are you fighting for this? Play.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, American
Excuse
employees are going
me,
to be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
See, she won't say that they're giving it to illegal aliens. She just says for everybody. Words have meaning. They have lots of meaning. And so what they won't do is they won't say it to you. Instead, they're going to lie to you by telling you the truth, right? Think about that. I'm not going to say that I'm giving illegal aliens health care and that I'm fighting for that. No, I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to instead say that we want health care for everybody. I'm not going to say illegal aliens. I'm going to leave you, the Republican, you, the common sense person, to interpret my words. This is what we're dealing with. This is why nobody can stand Democrats. Nobody. It's why they're losing, and they're losing hugely. Now, there's another gentleman. His name is Ro Khanna. Yep, that should say everything to you right there. This guy was just at ArabCon. We talked about ArabCon on Monday. It was a weekend event where Arabs who are here in the United States basically get up and hate on Israel and hate on the United States, and he was there. And he actually poked fun at Islamic terrorists in the sense that poking fun at us, poking fun at people like me. He started off by asking the crowd, so how many people in here are actually supportive of Islamic terrorists? That's not funny, idiot. I watched my fellow Americans jump from 80 stories high. 3,000 people died. You going to laugh about that, you piece of you-know-what? This guy, because he's not a very smart human being, gets on television to try to say this has nothing to do with illegal aliens. We're not funding illegal aliens. And in doing so says we're funding illegal aliens. Go.
In terms of health care, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts or the Affordable Care Act, if at all. And so we can argue that point, but the reality that even the vice president would acknowledge, that anyone who looks at the numbers will acknowledge, is 90 to 95% of the funding we're talking about is talking about funding for American citizens.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Ro. It's only a small amount of money. Wait a second. 2 minutes ago, it was for nobody. We've been listening to the media and Chuck Schumer and everybody else saying that this is a total lie. They're lying. We're not funding illegal aliens. And J.D. Vance and yours truly just explained to you how it is happening. Don't tell me that the illegal aliens are not being supported by the Democrats. It's just such a, it's beyond rude. It's insulting. For those of you watching, right, look over my right shoulder here on the big screen. you'll see a New York State commercial driver's license. All right. For those of you who are listening audio only, imagine an official driver's license issued from the state of New York, only this is a commercial driver's license. During the week, Oklahoma, which is a red state, Oklahoma works with ICE to try to crack down on illegal aliens driving these huge tractor trailers after we've seen so many accidents and deaths at the hands of these people who should not be given a license at all. They can't read, they can't speak English. They shouldn't even be in the country, but they're getting CDL licenses, commercial driver license. They wind up pulling over, I think it was over 500 trucks, of which 120 were illegal aliens. And of the 120 that were illegal aliens, a good majority of them had New York State commercial driver's licenses that were not only expired, and in some cases expired for 10 years or more, but the license is issued to no name given. It says it right on it. No name given. And so when the New York State DMV was contacted about this, they said, we're just carrying out the rules on the books. So you could be an illegal alien and get a CDL license, an 18-wheeler. I mean, look, you get into an accident with a small little school bus, and you're going to have some pretty decent impact. You get into a accident with a big school bus, there's going to be some damage. You get into an accident with an 18-wheeler Big Mac truck, you're done. If you're surviving that, you're an anomaly. So don't tell me that the Democrats aren't supportive of illegal aliens and all the things that they need and want in order to live here in the United States comfortably. They will give them health care. They will give them free housing. You saw that in New York City. You saw that all over the country. They will give them driver's licenses and not make them put their name on the driver's license. This is beyond preposterous. This is insanity. This is the Democrat insane mindset, which Trump and J.D. Vance and the Republican and conservative movement is trying to absolutely end. And the great thing about it is that the Democrats are doing the job for us. Thank you very much. Now, here's the nuttier, crazier part. The nuttier, crazier part. When you look at this specific topic, if I were to take the State of the Union, I can't remember which one it was, but if I took the State of the Union from Bill Clinton back in the 1990s and I played that for you, you would think it was an AI video that I took Trump's speech and put it into Clinton's mouth. But it's not. Back in the 1990s, when Clinton was the president, the Democrats were absolutely anti-illegal immigration. 100%. Even in the early 2000s, because in the early 2000s, George Bush was opening up the fences, the gates for everybody. We had such mass illegal immigration into this country under the Bush presidency that even Nancy Pelosi in 2005 was pissed off about it. We got the video for proof. Play it.
Broken borders. That's an oxymoron, something we can't tolerate. Borders, of their nature, our definition as a nation and our protection as a country. Broken borders, they don't exist. We can't tolerate them. So let's say from the start that we all in this body, and I know I can speak very firmly for the Democrats, support strong border control, and it must be part and the first part of any comprehensive immigration reform.
I mean, that doesn't sound like Nancy Pelosi. You would think that was Nancy Mace. You would think that was Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's Nancy Pelosi. We've got videos of Hillary Clinton saying the same thing. So what happened? Where did those people go? Because now they're completely on the other side of the spectrum. What happened was a man named Barack Obama. Barack Obama said we need to open the borders to fundamentally transform the United States. And because he was the leader and he was the king, they all changed their position. And they've been so far in, they can't get out. And that's what it is. And the Democrats recognize at this point that without the illegal aliens and the births of illegal alien children, they will never have a voter bloc. Democrats are losing people, especially people that look like me. They are losing people by the tens of thousands each and every day. Make no mistake, this is the Schumer shutdown. This is the Schumer shutdown. This is not Donald J. Trump. If you have somebody in your family, if you have somebody in your neighborhood, and they are going to suffer a hardship because of the government shutdown, and they are confused, or they say this is Trump, because Trump has all three branches. He's got the White House, he's got the House, and he's got the Senate. They do not understand how it works. We need 60 people in the Senate in order to get through a CR or to get through some kind of budget. And we can't do it because they will not vote with Trump. Schumer will not allow it to happen. This is a Democrat issue. Now, if it couldn't get more embarrassing for Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, look and listen to this CNN interview. For those of you who are just on audio only, you're going to be confused. So I'm going to set this up. The guy on CNN is asking Chuck Schumer if this is his shutdown. And Chuck Schumer plays off as if he can't hear. Play it.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name? Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me? I don't think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
It's amazing how he was able to hear everything before and after that part of the interview. But let's even just assume that he couldn't hear him. That video right there, as far as I'm concerned, is representative of what it is that the Democrat Party and its media friends were all about. They have no fluidity. They have no mojo.